This is The Wheel Weaves, a Wheel of Time podcast with no spoilers. Welcome, listeners. I'm your host, Dani, and I'm the first-time reader going through this 15-book series chapter by chapter. As always, there's no spoilers past the chapter we're covering, and that means it's totally safe for first-time readers. I'm joined by my co-host, Brett, who's a longtime fan, and he's acting as my tour guide on this journey. We'd like to acknowledge and thank our executive producers, Brandy and Aaron Kirkwood, Andre the Man in White, and Chad Welsh. And before we get into things today, we just want to thank and welcome Terrah Thompson to the Wheel Weaves Patreon team. Thank you so much for your generosity, and we're really excited to have your support. And this episode is extra special. We're super excited because we have a returning guest with us.
Yeah, we do. It's Tyler.
Hey, Tyler.
Hey, happy to be back.
Yeah, thanks for coming back. I know it's been a long time, but hey.
Yeah, we thought that we'd have you back for another couple of super boring parent chapters. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, it's consistent, and that's important.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, you're pretty much the parent representative.
At this point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you got to bring...
we had Tom on for
also,
other
yeah,
parent...
that's
We always
true.
need a guest for parent chapters. For those of you who tell me that parent is your favorite chapter, you tell me why we always need a guest
Yeah.
for a parent chapter.
Yeah.
It's because not much is happening, and we want to chat with our guests for a while.
Yeah, I'm excited to have another chapter with Matt Unconscious. That's absolutely fun to read as well.
No one said that's fun to read. No one said that. I agree with you.
You literally have said, when Matt does something, I enjoy it. I don't know why,
Yeah.
but when Perrin does it, I hate it.
I hate it.
You weren't. It's on recording, Danny.
Yeah, I know. Fine.
Well, he's got you there.
Okay, well, we are really excited to have you here, and this episode we're talking about chapters 43 and 44 of The Shadow Rising.
Yeah, so we got chapter 43, Care for the Living, and chapter 44, The Breaking Storm. Okay, so since we're all excited to talk about Perrin today, I'm going to start us off with a really good fun fact. This time, it's something brand new. This one is interactive, and we're going to have to look at a picture, and then I'm going to tell you some fun facts about the Wheel of Time.
Okay.
Yeah. So, to start off, I have the copy of The Eye of the World in front of me, and I'm going to get you to look at the inside cover, because there's a picture that's not necessarily the cover art, but there's an inside picture, and I need you to tell me how many people are in this picture. It's going to become relevant, and I'll explain it after I get you to count.
Now, is this in, like, every book? Because I know for a fact the Eye of the World that you're holding right now is, like, a first edition.
Yes, so the picture is for sure not in every copy of The Eye of the World, but I know that it is original artwork, which is also very relevant too.
Okay.
So, we're going to pause. You're going to look at the number of people, and you're going to tell me.
I see 8 people, 9 people. Well, these people are hard to see because they're like tiny in the back. 9? Is it 9?
Yeah.
Should I see 9?
The correct
Okay.
answer is 9 people.
Can you just tell me how many I'm supposed to see?
No, I need you to count. Now I need you to tell me how many people left Emmons Field.
Okay. I knew that this is where this was going. Tyler, tell us how many people left Emmons Field.
You're calling in a ringer, huh?
Let's count them off.
So we got the 3 boys. We got
Yep.
Egwene. We got Tom.
Yep.
We got Landon Moraine.
7. There's one more.
Did she show up
Brett's
before?
telling us.
Yeah, I know, but
Nynaeve
did
did
she
not go with them.
Did she didn't show up? She didn't leave Two Rivers with
She
them.
didn't show up till Baerlon.
And she didn't.
Exactly. So in the picture, when you're looking at it, it's a town. It's some sort of village. So it's not directly leaving Emmons Field, but
they're
like how many
riding
people
through a village.
left Emmons Field?
Not. Yeah. So with,
Okay,
with
so
Nynaeve,
8.
it's 8. Yeah.
Yeah. So the correct answer is 8 people left Emmons Field.
Nynaeve.
Okay.
Everyone's gonna hate that.
But
You know what? We just had this huge conversation in the Discord about how literally everyone pronounces every name differently. And
Yeah.
even though they know they should pronounce it differently, they don't. So
and
it's
we've got like audiobook recordings, we've got like glossary, we've got like whatever. So
we'll know who you're talking about. Just
Yeah, we'll
do
figure it
whatever
out.
feels right.
back to my fun fact, people. Come on. So
Right.
8 people left, but there's 9 in the picture. Who's that 9th person? You're not going to know, and this is where the fun fact comes in.
Steve.
So I have an excerpt. It is Steve, actually.
Yes.
No, but it's not Steve. But it is. Okay. I have an excerpt from a conversation with Brandon Sanderson, and he says Mr. Jordan wrote a large chunk of The Eye of the World with a 4th Two Rivers lad going along with Perrin, Matt, and Rand. He was going to be a major character. So technically, he was supposed to be the fourth Ta'Viren. But then Brandon Sanderson goes on to say that Harriet talked Robert Jordan out of it, pointing out that the fourth lad never did anything useful. So the funny thing about the cover art is there's a little bit of controversy about this, but it looks like the artwork for this was commissioned before the fourth Two Rivers boy was actually taken out as the Ta'Viren, which is why there's 9 people in that picture, but we, the readers, know that there's only 8.
You're giving a lot of credit to an artist that we know also didn't really draw based on the content of the book.
Yeah, no kidding.
I know, but it is a fact that he did write a fourth Two Rivers boy, being the fourth Ta'Viren.
That's interesting.
Because to be fair, with The Great Hunt, I thought that was Moraine and Matt on the cover.
Yeah, but
So-
the funny part about that is that another reason is they took the fourth boy out is because that would have been too close to the Lord of the Rings, where the 4 hobbits left the Shire.
That's true.
But the funny part is there's a very good chance that the fourth Ta'Viren, the fourth boy, was Daniel.
Oh,
Yeah,
Interesting.
and we've met Daniel.
Yeah.
Daniel Lewin.
Yes, so Daniel is the fourth boy,
For
but
sure.
he's no longer the fourth
Are
boy.
you sure? Like, you don't know about that for sure.
Yes, I do.
Oh, you do.
Yeah.
Because I was like, what about Dav? Dav's
Is
great.
he the boy
Yeah,
in this
so-
chapter, Brett? The boy who says he wishes he left with them?
No, that's Dav.
Oh, I was going to say,
I
that
thought
would
it
have
would-
been
I
perfect.
thought it would be good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not Dav, though. Yeah, it's pretty well documented that it's Daniel.
But before we move on, I may or may not have promised someone that we were going to start doing shots for Lord of the Rings references.
Oh, no, really?
Holy
Yeah.
fuck.
I don't think you know how many times I talk about that.
Yeah.
It's not that much.
Well,
It's So what I have to tell you though is our Harry Potter references have dwindled slightly because obviously it's
it's a lot of the same.
it's a lot of the same because we got introduced to all the stuff in the first couple books and now it's all the same, so we're not going to make the same references over and over.
Now I get to teach
Yeah.
you about Lord of the Rings.
But
That's
someone
exciting.
said they want, I think it was on Instagram, they want Lord of the Rings references.
Okay.
It's
Lord
a
of the
great
Rings
idea.
shots. And
Love
I'm
it.
for it.
All
I'm
right.
for shots,
So does
especially
the
when we have
Shire
a guest.
thing count?
What Shire thing?
I literally just made a Lord of the Rings reference about the fact that the four
Yes,
boys...
that's what I'm talking about.
Okay, yeah.
That's literally what I'm talking about
Okay.
right now. Yes, it counts. I'm going to get us shots.
And
Excellent.
Tyler, you
yeah.
can partake if you like.
Oh, absolutely. But it was funny
Yes.
because while you were talking about that, I was also going to say a useless fourth character, kind of like Legolas in the Lord of the Rings movies, where he says
Legolas
nothing.
isn't useless. He's the hottest one.
No, but he says nothing.
I'm pretty sure he does a lot of good stuff.
His character's
Okay.
his character's lines are essentially look over there 90% of the time.
All right, so to our new Lord of the Rings references.
Love it.
Okay, cheers, Tyler.
Cheers.
Cheers. This also means that I need to make you watch The Lord of the Rings so you know my references. Okay.
Although I do want to do a Lord of the Rings marathon. It's been a while.
Yeah.
Okay, so now, good fun fact. I like the interactive. That was
Yeah,
fun. That was
thank you.
good. I have some notes that I've taken.
Right, you had homework.
Specifically regarding homework. So you sent me a few chapters to read in The Eye of the World and one in The Great Hunt
Yes.
about the Malkieri history.
Yes.
Because you said, well, what do we know about Lan and the Malkieri history? And I said, I don't know anything about that. And you said, wrong.
We do know
We do.
things.
We do know things. So you gave me homework, and I appreciated this homework instead of you just telling me, because
Okay.
now I'm going to remember.
I hear what you're saying.
Are
I'll
you
give you more
impressed? Look-
homework.
No, okay.
That's what I took out of that.
Maybe for like chapters like this where the note taking is quite minimal,
Okay.
like I was fine with it. But anyway, are you impressed?
I see the notes. I want to know what they say.
They're color coded.
I was
I
going to
want to
say,
know what it says before I judge if I'm impressed.
Danny, you're a teacher. You know that just because you gave someone homework doesn't mean that they delivered on said homework.
Oh yeah, I also went to school and I actually didn't do a lot of homework that I was supposed to do. So-
Get to the homework. Let's go.
Okay.
This
okay.
seems important.
All right. So my homework was on the Malkieri history. So I'm going to give you a summary
Okay.
of the downfall of the Malkieri.
Malkieri.
Am I saying it right? It
Yeah.
sounds super weird.
Malkieri are the people, and it's the nation of
Malkier.
Malkier.
And the 7 towers is in Malkier?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And we saw those broken towers
We did.
in the Blight.
Yes.
So that I remember. But, okay. So, we have Al Akir,
Yep.
Mandragoran.
That's Lan's daddy.
That's Lan's dad, and he's the king.
Yes.
Now, we got the Al royal prefix
Yep.
added to his name when he became king. He was in the running for king with someone else.
Not quite. So, Akir had a brother, Lane, and Akir became king, and Lane did not.
Yeah, but then there was someone else who was jelly because they almost... Oh, Cohen. Cohen was jelly because he almost became king. By the crowning stone, he was only 2 something short.
2 rods.
2
Yeah.
rods short. See?
Yeah. Okay.
See, there was someone else who almost became king who wasn't his brother.
Okay. You just kind of skipped through the
I know I'm
history
skipping
there.
ahead. I'm just saying.
Okay.
I got lots here, Brett.
Okay.
I'm just trying to link it all together.
It's a contextual history, Brett. It's not a straight line.
Fair. Thank you. So, we got that guy's the king. He's married to Eliana.
Yep.
And I think the L is also royal prefix.
Correct.
He's Lan's father. We got Lane Mandragoran, who's the king's brother, Lan's uncle.
Mm-hmm.
This guy, Lane, led soldiers to the Blight and died.
Yep.
He was married to Brienne,
Yep.
who had a child with Lane named Isam.
Yes.
And that's Lan's cousin.
That's correct.
Okay, so with the family tree out of the way,
Yep.
now we got Brienne being a huge jelly monster. She wants to be queen.
Yeah. She wanted Lane to become king because then she would be queen.
Right, but he didn't, and he died, and then so she got everyone pissed and mad at Akir because if he had helped Lane, maybe he wouldn't have died.
Yeah, yeah.
Whatever. So she's jelly. She plots with Cohen, quote, Fairheart,
Yep. Cohen Fairheart.
to take the throne for her son Isam, which would make her queen mother.
Yes.
technically.
And basically have the power.
Yes.
A very Cersei situation.
I was actually going to say, very
Yeah,
similar.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and
So-
also I'm fairly sure that Robert Jordan has written this book. Right? Doesn't it seem like he's got it so fleshed out and he's like made his tragic like protagonist and antagonist, like he's designed
Oh,
this-
yeah.
Yes.
Like the book
Yeah.
of the Melky. Yeah. Oh, 100%.
Oh, 100%.
He was,
It's like
he
a
would have
mini
gone
story.
here. He would have gone here. No
I
doubt
want
in
that
my
short
mind.
story. I want it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, bad news.
I know. So we got Cohen, who is also jelly because he was almost the king. He moved soldiers out of the Blight to seize the throne
Yes.
for Brienne and Isam.
Yeah.
But turns out, dun dun dun, he's actually a dark friend.
Yeah. Cohen Fairheart's a dark friend.
And
oh, no.
he pulled everyone out of the Blight,
Yep.
which allowed Trollocs to pour into Malkier.
That's correct.
Which is bad news bears. So, Brienne flees with Isam, and we get who knows what happened to them.
It's assumed they're dead.
Yeah, but I have a rule about that.
If you didn't see it happen, it didn't happen.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because they were, quote, run down by Trollocs. But later in my notes, we have the current, what, Moraine things happen?
So let's talk about that
And we'll
after we
get
get
to
there.
it after.
Okay.
So, we also get a funny little side note that Jane Farstrider, like the guy who wrote that book that everyone likes to read so much,
Yes.
he's the one who actually took Cohen in for his treachery.
Yes. Yeah,
Right?
exactly. 100%.
So, Akir kills Cohen for his crap,
Yep.
for being a dark friend and
Dark friend traitor.
Dark friend traitor. Trollocs came in. Baby Lan is sent to Fal Moran with a sword and a locket.
Yep.
Survives. Obviously, he's
It's
Lan.
Lan.
Akir and Lyanna go to get killed in the Blight, and Malkier falls.
Yes. So that's a good summary.
Thank you.
It's funny
Okay.
that we get a character with like a nickname like Fairheart in this story alone, and I don't think we really get that many characters with weird like nicknames not in the old tongue, like just in
Yeah.
a regular like English presentation, and then he ends up just being a dick. So
Yeah. Okay, so then we get into the Great Hunt, where we get the Dark Prophecy.
Okay.
And in the Dark Prophecy, there is a mention of Luke going to the Mountains of Doom with Isam waiting in the high passes with one to live and one to die.
Okay.
And we know for sure Luke died. Because now we know that Luke was Rand's uncle. Well, actually, we don't know that he died.
It's assumed that he died. Well, this
because
is a thing.
Luke was the one who killed Rand's dad.
Luke is the one who killed Rand's dad, most likely, from what we can tell, because he looked like Tigraine,
Yes.
which was Rand's mom,
Yeah.
and we know that Tigraine disappeared, which she actually became Shail and went off to the Aiel Waste.
Yeah. We don't need to get into all that. We get that.
And then Luke disappeared in the Blight.
Yeah, we get that.
So we don't know that he died.
We don't know that he died. But we get that Esam is there, not a baby and not dead.
Yeah.
So clearly grew up, didn't die, and is either there, and either one of them is alive and one of them's dead.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because remember the whole time with the whole Luke died in the Blight thing, I keep going, allegedly.
Yeah, allegedly.
'Cause I don't
Luke
buy
died
it.
in the Blight.
I don't buy it.
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
Luke died in the Blight.
Allegedly.
Yeah.
Okay, I hate when you're here. You guys, especially when we're on video like this, you guys like look at each other. And,
No,
like,
I'm looking at you. I'm looking at you.
Nope. Okay, so Moraine thinks that the attempt on the throne was for Brienne's husband, and that's what brought the Trollocs into Malkier. So she's a little misinformed.
Little bit, yeah.
And she thinks that she needs to keep this from Lan because Issam might be alive, and that's like blood relative to Lan, and he thinks he's the last of the Malkieri, but he might not be.
Okay, so I mean that's important.
And that when I read that in the Great Hunt in like chapter 7, it didn't matter at all, and I didn't care at all.
Of course not.
Yeah.
No, of course not.
It
I mean,
hasn't-
that's why rereading the series is important.
It hasn't really mattered until now. It's not. It's like he planted these
And the
seeds
only-
two books ago and 4 books ago. It's
So
Right.
let's get to the crux of it though,
Okay.
because
The only reason this matters is because this guy in the dream world, Slayer, looks like Lan. He's clearly a Malkieri. But like, who is he and why? My history doesn't help me at all.
well, he's a lookalike, right?
Yeah, except that he's probably maybe a dark friend.
so you have a brother.
I do?
Yeah, you have
Yeah.
a brother,
Yes.
and you also have a cousin. Let me
Yeah.
ask you,
Yeah.
how much does Steve look like Mike?
A lot.
Uh-huh.
They look alike.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, who is Lan's cousin?
Esam. Yeah. No, I know. I get it.
Do you think that Esam is this guy lookalike? Is literally him, or is it just like another?
So, I don't know. See, like, the thing about this is it could be Cohen, for all I know, because he's a dark friend who brought the Trollocs down on Malkieri, who's clearly Malkieri.
But he's not related to Lan. But also for
Because
Nynaeve
he
to
looks
be,
like a borderlander. Like, same with-
Nynaeve thought it was Lan.
That's true. It needs to be someone related to him. But it could be his dad, technically.
Could be.
It's probably not,
Okay.
but okay.
But we do
Okay.
we do know that he's not that old. Like we haven't heard that he's like gray haired or anything like that, right? Like you would assume Lan's dad would be pretty old.
Fair.
Unless
okay.
it's like dead Dream World version of
kind of an
Malkieri
age
Because we
version,
got like
yeah.
Brigida wandering around.
Yeah.
And she's like freaking thousands of years old. I don't
And
even
it
know
leads into a
anything about
whole lot of questions about like who's in the dream, like how does that
Okay,
work?
so
And
likely,
when Amos goes to the dream world, she shows up as hot, right? So
yeah,
yeah, that's true.
yeah, because you can change your appearance in the dream world.
That's
so
true,
that's
too.
the other thing. Now, I had speculated that Lord Luke and this Slayer guy were one in the same
because of the smell.
Because of the smell, the description was the same: the cold, emotionless, lacking humanity, almost not human, like. Same words to describe the smell of these two people. So what the hell is he doing in the Two Rivers killing wolves? Like,
yeah. I feel like we just opened up too many more questions
Yeah.
It's
here.
just like it makes things.
It's something to
I
think
don't
about,
know
I
if
guess.
knowing. I don't know if knowing the history really even helps this, except maybe gives me a name.
Okay. All
and
right.
that's about it.
Something to look for.
Because Luke also has the look of a quote borderlander, right?
Yeah.
But he says he's from Mirandi or something stupid. I don't know.
I don't think it's
I
ever
don't-
discussed that Luke looks like a borderlander.
I think you're dragging Slayer over into Luke.
Yeah.
No, because somebody said to him that
D-
he looks like
Doesn't he
Like
have
a
blonde
board- like
hair or
he's so-
something? Like, don't they talk about him as like fair skinned or any of that stuff? Do we get any descriptors, or is he just incredibly handsome?
Hey everyone, it's Editing Dani here. At this point in the conversation, we get super sidetracked, really bogged down, discussing Luke and what everyone remembers about his introduction to Perrin. So I went back into the book, I looked, chapter 33, A New Weave in the Pattern. When they meet Luke, Varen comments that his name, Lord Luke of Chindelna, which I'm probably pronouncing super wrong, doesn't matter. She says, "Where is that? It has a borderland sound." And he says, "Nothing so grand. It's from Mirandy, actually." And so that's where I thought, oh, he's probably a borderlander. That's where the confusion took place. He doesn't have the look of a borderlander, just a name borderlanding sounding. Okay, back to the episode. Yeah, anyway, I just need to say that I did it. I learned it. It doesn't clear anything up for me. It makes things more confusing.
Okay.
And I think I need to collect my thoughts a little bit more on this, make a definitive statement later on.
Yeah, let it soak in for a couple more like that. We got time. We got time.
Okay, so before we get into this chapter 43, last time I have in my notes that even more nothing has happened.
Yeah, okay.
We learned Fail's backstory. Perrin has a dream about Slayer.
The fact that you're saying that the previous chapters had nothing is leaving me fuming, Dani. Perrin has a literal arrow sticking out of him.
Okay, no. Okay. Some things happened, but it's not like chocked full of excitement and perspective changes and lots of things going on. It's like one thing happened, and he's gonna be fine.
There's a huge battle. There's a big reveal. There's a possibility of a traitor. There's all this shit going on, and you're like, I wonder what Matt's hat is like. What a great chapter
Tyler,
that was.
This is why we brought you on for this chapter.
Yeah.
It's important.
To be fair, I also think the traveling from Ruidian is not much. I also think that Trolloc attack kind of sucks too. Like, I'm too jaded. Almost like these characters where Trolloc attacks don't mean as much as they used to.
That's
right?
actually a fair point.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Like with Perrin being like, ugh, another fade. Like going back and reading a couple chapters in the Eye of the World and like seeing their perspectives about like, a Murdral is the worst thing in the whole world. We could never fight a Murdral.
And now it's like, ugh, annoying.
Yeah. God, they just flail around. Can't they just accept they're dead? Like,
yeah, you're not wrong. Now, one thing that I'll point out is that it seems like a lot of what Robert Jordan starts to do as the series goes on is he focuses a lot more on the tactics of stuff, like the what and the why. We get so much early on where it's just like giant horde of animals goes and attacks something. And then further on we get, it's like, okay, wait, how did they get there? How are they doing that? And like, those are the questions that he starts to ask a lot more. Because I think he gets bored of it too, to be honest.
Yeah, well, I mean, I like the tactics, so
yeah. So Perrin has a dream about Slayer. Last time, it's someone who looks like Lan and who I think is also somehow Lord Luke. They go back to Emond's Field, where Perrin now has his own wolf banner and is called Perrin Golden Eyes. Now, chapter 43 is called Care for the Living.
Yeah, it's good advice.
Yeah, so there's an Aes Sedai symbol, that whole flame of Tarvalin picture. We enter in Perrin's perspective. He's returning to Emond's Field. Basically, it's like these guys are returning from war. We have people so excited to see their sons and their brothers again. But all Perrin is hearing is the people calling for the dead guys.
Yeah, definitely heartbreaking. And I kind of envisioned this is how the real situation is too.
Yeah, so Perrin is having an internal struggle because he feels responsible for the deaths of the men, and he thinks they've ended up in a Trollocs cookpot, which is gross.
And probably accurate.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, this is where we get the title of the chapter. This was
he
Fail's dad's advice. So
he thinks care for the living, and I'll worry about the dead later. So the Aes Sedai aren't really doing anything to heal people yet, because we learn that Alana isn't around. She's still out being sneaky sneaks, and Varen's talents lie in other directions.
Yeah, did you have any ideas about the whole, because Alana thing, I was going to say, because we've got Ivan who like went off to find Perrin. What's Alana up to? She's gone too. Mm-hmm. Were they searching independently, or...
I literally have no idea.
No clue? Okay.
No.
I was wondering if you had any crazy speculations.
For me,
No.
big time, like my Varen radar is going off right now too, because like anything has to be better than what Perrin is going through at this point. But she's just kind of like, nah, let's see how this plays out with the arrow.
Yeah, that's her favorite. She's like writing all these notes about Taviran and like the Tavir nature, and like literally at the end of this chapter, he's about to die, and Alana walks in the room.
Yeah. But I mean,
So-
we don't necessarily know
yeah.
that Varen can heal at all. So I mean, we did learn the last couple chapters that healing is really close to killing. So if you mess it up, that could be bad too. So I kind of get the whole like, I'm not good at it. I'm not gonna do it. I'm gonna wait. Like I am on board for that.
And if
Like,
anyone was
I'm
not going to
in
learn, it would
medical
be a
school.
Brown, right? Like if anyone was
Yeah.
not going to learn how to heal, it would be the people who hyper focus on existential
Well,
topics.
yeah.
And she might know like the history.
Yeah, I can tell you the
History
lore and
of
the history.
healing. She
Yeah.
might know the theory behind it. Like she's read some medical textbooks, but she's like not gonna go perform surgery because she's read a textbook.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
It's not part of her history degree. This
Yeah.
area of study. Yeah.
Okay, we also get that there are a bunch of weapons being gathered from all around in the Wine Spring Inn, which is just like a little interesting tidbit.
Yeah. Everyone's gathering. Everybody's got swords. There's like
yeah,
5 of
which
them.
Perrin is surprised about.
Yeah.
It's interesting here too. One thing after they enter the inn and like you said, they find the stuff. Gaul is watching Varen really really clearly too, which I mean for an ale seems kind of odd when they sort of are supposed to hold Aes Sedai on a pedestal. So I feel like his radar's a little bit pinged as well from all this stuff. Like
That was kind of like the
I
Urian
wonder-
thing though, because
Here's my
yeah.
what I was about to say though. I wonder if Gaul was with Urian's group.
that's possible.
If he's seen her before.
That's funny because Urian also was the one who interacted with Varen.
But there were others around.
Yeah. So maybe he like saw her. Like we don't actually
we have no
know.
idea where Gaul came
Yeah.
from, and we haven't heard of Urian again.
Yeah,
Right?
We got. I think we've
Not
got
really,
2
no.
or 3 beats from him. It was the cage. It was Tyr, and then
Gaul, yeah.
Yeah.
it's true.
Yeah, but and then Urian, I don't even know if he was in Tyr. Like, I don't know if we heard from him again.
Yeah. Something to think about.
Okay, so Varen dismisses Perrin's concern about helping the other men returning because they're gonna be better with their families.
Yeah, they're fine. Too soon. Parents'
Too
family's
soon,
dead.
Perrin.
So
Also, you're about to be dead if you try to get up and walk anywhere. So
yeah. Well, I mean, that's the whole. He doesn't understand how bad he is right now.
yeah. So Perrin doesn't want to be taken to a bed yet, and then he asks where Loyal is, and we get that Loyal is helping clear trees with the men, even though it makes him super sad to cut down trees.
Yeah, that's our boy.
Yeah.
He does his duty.
He'll do the hard work when he needs to, and I think he
Yeah.
understands the need for this.
Yeah. I mean, they're just regular trees. They're not great trees.
That's true.
Yeah, he's like, yeah, they're just stupid
Yeah.
baby trees. Who cares?
He
Yeah,
can
kill
sing
the
another
baby
tree
trees.
in 2 seconds. He's not.
Doesn't matter.
Doesn't even matter.
I do like the fact that Master Luhan made him like a gigantic axe.
Yeah.
Like it's gotta be just huge.
Well, and then there's the funny reference later when Loyal shows up carrying an axe about the whole don't put a long handle on your axe.
Yeah.
Because that means being hasty.
Yeah.
And he's got a long handle on his axe.
He's being hasty. Loyal,
It's
so
funny.
hasty.
Yeah, I mean, we've got a very clear Lord of the Rings reference, but it's almost gratuitous at this point.
Oh yeah, Treebeard.
Well, the Ents in
Don't
general.
be
just
hasty.
Don't be hasty. Don't.
You guys really okay?
If you want to do Lord of the Rings shots,
If
I mean,
you want to do shots, just keep talking.
literally anytime Loyal comes in,
The Ogiers are tree Ents almost 100% of the time. That's why Brett and
I
I
know
were saying
they
this
are.
is ridiculous.
Okay, let's do it.
oh
Shot
my
time.
god, okay.
All right, cheers. It's fine. Okay, so interesting break because now we get that Lord Luke isn't here where he said he was gonna be.
Ooh.
And I'm like, high alert, high alert, high alert.
Spooky.
It's so spooky. That's not the word I would use.
And
Well, it's funny.
another-
We kind of get like a callback to it too.
And we get another very clear lie from Lord Luke that coincides with him also not being here.
What?
That he says he's a king from Andor.
Oh.
Well, that's not what Luke says. That's what people say Luke said.
Well,
It could have been a misunderstanding.
No.
I don't like you guys just ganging up on him. Like, I don't like him necessarily, but also, let's get some real hard facts straight here.
if you
Yeah.
don't want to be suspect, then you should be where you say you're going to be. Literally
As
the same
kids
day.
as the kids say, sus.
Sus.
Super sus.
We have yet to play that game successfully.
Yeah.
So,
I know. I'm so old. Okay, so Luke is off hunting the Horn of Valier, quote, as the people are saying.
again, that's what the people are saying.
Yeah, or he's hunting Trollocs or something.
They don't know where
no
he
one
is.
really knows where he is or what he's doing, and that just like makes him even more sus.
But he's not where he said he'd
So-
be.
That's right. So Varen tells us that Luke is causing trouble around here because yesterday he led a whole group of people to meet the White Cloak Patrol and then tell the White Cloaks they're not allowed here. Like, tell them off.
That seems like a good idea to me. Again, okay, I can come to his defense because I feel like that's not a bad thing. Why do we want White Cloaks trying to come into Emmons
Okay,
Field?
listen.
That's called poking the bear.
What he's doing is fine, but his motives are all screwy, all fucked
His
up.
motives or his methods? Because
His motives. The reason why he wants to do this is because he's pissed off that Perrin is still hunting Trollocs. He wanted Perrin to come back and tell the White Cloaks to fuck off,
okay,
right? But he's pissed off that Perrin's not doing what he's saying and listening to him. Perrin's off doing whatever the hell he wants, and so Luke's like, fine, I'm gonna do it, and I'm gonna be the leader.
I'm just saying that it seems like a good idea to tell the White Cloaks to get out of here because there's also Aes Sedai and warders in town. What happens if they come across them there? It's just like open up another can of worms. So,
But
I get what you're saying.
You're not wrong, but we don't even know if the White Cloaks were on their way.
We don't have enough information.
Yeah, as
here.
far as we
Because
know,
we
he just
also
rode
get-
into a standing White Cloak camp where they haven't actually even tried to come to town and told them, don't even try to come to town. Like, it's not...
It's almost gonna put them on red alert and be like, maybe we should come to town. Enter the end of the next chapter. But
Very
we'll
true.
get
Oh,
there.
okay.
Yeah. So Perrin considers that if Luke was back here yesterday, he likely didn't have anything to do with the Trollocs, but he still wants to blame Luke, and I do too. I'm not being let off by this unreliable narrator, Perrin.
Okay.
I think that for sure, even if Luke did manage to get back to Emmons Field,
And then lead the delegation to the White Cloaks?
yeah, I think that he still
Had time to do all that?
was able to, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because last chapter we talked about you thought that he went off to go and conspire with the Trollocs to make
That was
them
like 2
lead
chapters.
the ambush. Okay.
2 episodes ago.
Yeah.
Right, because, okay.
That was right when
Okay.
the attack happened. I was like, Gull's not wrong.
Yeah, the
Gull's
episode that
never
just
wrong.
happened, yeah.
Yeah.
Gull wouldn't have his tactics wrong. This must be
Never.
literally any other reason other than the ale got things wrong. And I completely...
Never. I
am
don't
here for
believe
that.
it.
He's perfect.
Yeah.
He's wonderful.
Yeah, I don't buy. Hey, do we agree on something?
Yeah. A third-party
Cool.
character who says almost nothing. How about that?
I like Gull. He's great.
He is.
Okay, so so all of the village boys want to talk to Perrin. We get 3 of them, I think, here coming in. To
Yeah,
chat with him.
we get a few of them, including the return of our best buddy.
Yeah, Ewan McGregor.
Ewan McGregor comes back. Yay. It's actually really funny because I put another Lord of the Rings reference in my notes,
But you don't want to do it now?
not even knowing that you were going to talk
I
about
know.
this.
I told I was going to surprise you with it. I didn't
Yeah.
actually know.
Do you want to know what
Is
it
it
was?
the bedside
Sure.
one where like Frodo is super happy to see everyone that comes by?
Oh no, yeah, that's actually a good one too. It's like, oh, and there's like the weird laughing scene. It's fantastic.
Yeah, Sam.
No, I was gonna put down. This is kind of like the return home. So if in Lord of the Rings, when like Frodo returns from his journey, nobody cares. Like nobody pays attention to them coming home, and he's like loaded up with like a bunch of Same with Bilbo. When no one really cares about his adventures. They don't want to hear about it. But with Perrin, it's the exact opposite, where it's like everyone wants to know everything about everything. It's just like a complete contrast.
Yeah, and probably
I just
more
put that in
realistic
for
in a lot
myself.
of
I wasn't
ways.
even going to talk about this.
Yeah, well, now we have to do another shot. So.
Yeah, this seems like your fault.
I feel like I should do
It
my-
100% is. I didn't know that all of this was going to happen all at once. But, it's a Friday night with our friend Tyler. We don't get to socialize anymore. So I'm here. I'm here for the shots.
I have a whole Lord of the Rings reference that I talked to Brett about as well, but it's like, there's a whole scene in the books of Lord of the Rings where the hobbits come home, Pippin and Merry come home, and basically the whole Shire is taken over by... She's gone. Oh my gosh.
It's okay.
Well,
yeah.
The whole Shire is taken over by Saruman.
Yeah, because they cut the whole Saruman thing out of the movies for sure,
so
and I get why.
It's an old bad guy who goes and takes over their hometown that they then have to beat. Like it's like 100% a parallel for Padan Fane in a lot of ways, right? Like it's like a direct comparison.
Yeah, no, I get that.
I'm going to have no idea what you're talking about.
It doesn't matter.
So it's fine.
Yeah.
I just wanted to know a shot.
I was going deep into the books there. All good.
Okay, well, something to make these chapters more exciting. Hey, Tyler. Cheers.
I like this Lord of the Rings thing.
It means a lot more drinking.
We're like resetting here on the entire...
Ugh. Shoe burns. But then, it's a nice aftertaste.
That's true.
Well, there you
So-
go.
Blackberry.
It's a nice oaky afterbirth.
Wait, what?
It's Michael Scott for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so boys show up. They're like, "Oh my God, Perrin, you've been in the world. Tell us all about the world." And Perrin's like, "Oh my God, Ewan McGregor, you're all grown up." And he's like, "Yeah." But I just think it's funny because I remembered who that character was out of everybody. That's like the little pipsqueak who got the like actual coin from Moraine.
Yes.
When Moraine gave the GPS coins to Matt and Rand.
Yeah, and he was like, "Oh, maybe I'm gonna spend it," and they're like, "Yeah," and he's like, "No, I'll keep it."
He's like,
maybe." I don't
"Okay,
know.
but I really want to spend it because the peddler is coming."
Yeah.
Anyway, Ewan McGregor
He probably never spent that coin.
probably still has it.
Yeah.
Possibly.
So we get that Alana has told them things about Perrin, like that he's been to the Blight. So it's interesting that Alana is like wandering around telling people about Perrin. We get that she was the one, last chapter we got that she was the one who like told them to paint the wolf banner, basically.
Yeah.
And I wonder if she has any like Moraine influencing powers, but...
I don't even think you need that. Like, I think it's unnecessary. I don't want to attribute power stuff if you could just like convince village people to make a banner for a cool wolfy guy with yellow eyes. Like,
yeah.
Honestly,
Anyway,
I feel like
okay.
that might have been a misstep on her part because it was like she probably was asking about Perrin, and they're like, "How do you know Perrin?" And she was like, "Well, I met him in Faldara when he came back from the Blight."
Shoot.
And then they're like, "Holy shit, the Blight!" And then she
Yeah.
probably got no
That's
more relevant
real?
information after that. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because then Perrin tells the boys like about select things from his adventures.
yeah.
Like Caemlyn, Tyr, the Borderlands, the Blight, the Steadings, but he stays away from talking about Falma, the Eye of the World, Forsaken, Kalendor, and the Dragon
Yeah, like the
Reborn.
super dangerous stuff. That's
Right.
actually... Hey, congratulations, Perrin, for discretion.
Perrin has always been the most level-headed, smart person, and I will give that to him.
Yeah.
I have always said that he's a very steady, smart character.
Yeah.
This
I
is-
do like that the boys are skeptical of...
Except for when Fael's around. Then he's like...
Yeah, it all goes out the window. Yeah, but the boys are like, they believe some stuff, but don't believe others. Like the
It's
stuff that you
funny.
wouldn't think, so...
And this is
Yeah.
also the most he's ever talked, probably, in the entire books to any one person. I don't think he's ever had
Yes.
a conversation like this.
Right?
And he has to do it when he's like semi-conscious and like heavily fevered.
Again,
Right.
that's the thing. He's
Okay.
near death.
Okay, so that's interesting because right in my notes here, we get a first note about Perrin feeling hot, but he's like, "Oh, it'll hurt too much to take my coat off."
Yeah.
And that's the first mention we get about it. They ask about Matt and Rand, and now Tam and Abel have shown up, so he keeps his story straight.
Good for him.
Yeah, so what he told Tam and Abel, he tells the guys about Matt gambling and carousing and
But
Rand.
like, what was the alternative story? Like, that's...
I don't know.
Side note, I love that I can picture exactly who Tam and Abel are going to be in my head, and they're fucking perfect. Like,
that's pretty cool, too.
it's
yeah.
beautiful. They're like,
I still I've seen the casting and I agree, but I have yet to connect the actor with the character. The first time that happened for me was Moraine with Rosamund Pike. And that's because I've been looking at Rosamund Pike quite a bit lately.
Yeah, that's
And
fair.
so, like, that one, and then especially because we watched her, like, in that movie, and I'm like, and then we got that whole Moraine Watt on Prime thing. That's super exciting.
Yeah.
So...
But I always got my
yeah.
Tam is like a leathery face, like an older and but
still super hot
and intense eyes. And then I've always
So
had
hot.
Abel Coffin as like a little bit thinner and a little bit more narrow faced. So it's like for me those characters are like, oh yeah, no, that guy can be that guy and that guy can be that guy. I'm cool with that. That's great.
Cool. Okay. So at this point, Fael sends the boys away, and then Loyal arrives with his giant axe and... I almost said ass.
Yeah. Well, he's got a pretty big ass.
I bet he's got a big ass. Okay. So he also notices that Perrin is injured. And he's like, oh my god, if I knew you were injured, I would have come faster. And Perrin thinks that he should be sweating, but his forehead is dry. So this is like our next clue that, okay, you have a bad fever, bud.
Yeah.
So Fael questions Varen about where Alana is, and Varen says, she'll come. Don't even worry about it. She'll be here.
And keeps writing about how
Right.
Perrin is dying and everything is going terribly and I could help, but I'm not.
Yeah.
Well, it's very reminiscent of when Swan was acting about, like, the Matt thing, right? When Matt was almost dead, and then the Amerlin was kind of like, oh, it's all good.
Let's see.
We'll get to him in time.
Let's see if his Taviraness can save him.
I have to finish the paperwork, but then maybe.
It would also be much more convenient for us if he just dies. Anyway. Okay. So... Perrin tells Loyal about the waygates being unlocked and about the Trollocs coming through, which, in my mind, is still like a maybe situation. Because he saw it in the dream world, and although he's really sure that this is what's going on, I'm not convinced.
Yeah, we've got no evidence besides that Perrin saw the doors open and closing in
the dream
world, which is like, that might just happen because there's something that can open and close.
But if they...
We don't know about the rules.
But we do know that if something can change, then you see it in all its forms, right? So if it was locked for sure, then we probably wouldn't be able to see it as opening and closing.
But we also know that it's only locked from the inside.
So it's not like it's impossible
not like
to open. It could be open still.
And if
so
anything,
we also know that
him being baited by Slayer almost makes it less likely that it is open. Because it's like one of those, here's a trap for you.
Yeah, that's the other thing too, right? Because we know that in the dream world, you can just like think things into existence.
Yeah.
You can think about having an axe and you have an axe. You can think about wearing no clothes and you wear no clothes. Like, you can think about those things and they happen. You can think about where to be and
so like you can think about the doors being open.
He could think about, I hope those doors are locked, and then they're not. Or, if he's not 100% about how it all works here, and we know he's not, I'm just not fully convinced. I think that all these Trollocs they're encountering are already here.
The rules are really wibbly wobbly in the
Jeremy
Dream World,
Bearimy.
for sure.
Jeremy Bearimy rules, and that's what it is.
No, that's true. And that's why I'm thinking that when they get to the Waygate, it's still going to be locked or something, And it might be a trap over there.
Well, I guess we'll see, won't we?
Yeah, I think we will. So, Loyal explains that anyone can still open the Waygate. We get that whole thing from this side of the world. Basically, from the outside of the Waygate, it can still be opened.
Yeah.
Since both leaves are on just the one side, Loyal says he's sorry. He thinks it's all his fault. He feels terribly. And then we get some important information about Waygates and how they can be destroyed.
Yeah. So, just to kind of step in here with the fun facts about the Waygates. No, so there was a Waygate destroyed 500 years after the breaking because the gate was near a steading close to the Blight, so the Aes Sedai went and destroyed that one. And apparently it took 13 Aes Sedai with a Sa'angreal.
When all they really needed to do was take the keys.
Which we know doesn't necessarily do so much. Because
if you take both the keys away?
No, he talks about this. I'll explain it. So he does mention that there's already 2 or 3 lost in the blight already.
Okay.
So that's important because like where the Trollocs entering from,
Probably
from the 2 or 3 in the blight. That would make sense. But then he talks about how there's another attempt by 9, and then something terrible happened. They got like sucked in, maybe. We don't really know. But this is what I was talking about, Loyal saying, if you remove the Avendasora leaves completely, the gate will die. However, it doesn't mean that it's like destroyed forever, because you could have the elders bring the Talisman of Growing, or Aes Sedai could like blow a hole in it still. So even though the gates die, maybe it's just like the doors don't really open very well.
Well, and that's sort of what we get at Faldara.
Yeah.
When Moraine like
blasts
blasts
the hole.
Shit
so
out
that's
of
what
the
I'm saying.
Waygate,
It's possible to
and
still
just
get
sits
through
open.
it. So just taking the keys away doesn't mean it's an inaccessible
yeah, but
gate.
for what they needed in this situation, instead of putting both keys on the outside, they should have taken the keys with them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not saying that's not a bad idea.
Put them on a key
Yeah.
ring.
Yeah.
Put them in your big old gear pockets.
Yeah, we got a new rule.
Yeah, that's what I'm
that
saying.
would have probably solved this particular problem for sure. And instead,
But like maybe because I think it's a trap. So
Okay,
Yeah.
so yeah.
yep. And I was just
Karen
gonna
would
say,
probably
like, from
think
my
they opened it again somehow.
earlier idea of like what's possible seems to appear in the dream world. The fact that now we're learning that it is possible that those doors can be reopened, that might be why we were seeing the doors reopen as well. So it's still not 100% guaranteed, but it's one of those things where it's like, oh, we thought they were locked. Oh, turns out they weren't locked. Now we know that there's a possibility that Perrin could have easily been seeing something that wasn't true.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree.
Okay.
That's my feeling. That's my gut feeling about it. Anyway, so Perrin also thinks about the arrowhead wound in his side and about how it doesn't even really hurt anymore. And I think that that's a terrible
That's
sign.
a good thing. It's the pain's going away.
That's a terrible,
That's
terrible
good.
sign. So Loyal wants to run off and fix the Waygate situation, and Perrin says, "No, you can't. I need to do it, not you." So they're both having this like complex about who's gonna be like the hero and who feels the most guilty about this situation. It's really fun. It's
they should
great to
both
read.
feel guilty. It's both their faults.
Yeah. So now Perrin is doing really bad. He is like near death, very confused, hallucinating, doesn't know what's going on, and like Alana shows up.
Yeah,
Phew. Yeah, so that's good.
basically.
Literally walks in the door as Fael's like, "Oh my god, he's burning up!" It's time. So they bring him into the kitchen. Turns out the barb of the arrowhead has caught on bone and the arrowhead has been twisted, and Alana needs to realign it, and if the shock doesn't kill Perrin, then she can heal him, but there is no other way.
Yeah, and that tells us some good information about healing in general, where it's not like a one fix for everything, where like no matter what you can heal.
Like, I have to pull this out of you,
Yeah, it's
and
not
then I can heal you.
exactly, and he still might die.
But you might bleed out or
Yeah.
something, right? Like,
And I mean, we know that healing takes some energy from the person being healed too. Like that's a huge thing that comes up again and again.
Yeah,
so.
they don't gloss over the mechanics of healing, right? Like if you were
Yeah.
to be healed from an arrow wound and like the arrow just magically popped out, that's not, they don't do that. That's not how like this
Yeah.
happens.
No.
It's
And
not a
that's-
magic healing potion
Exactly.
that's just like fixed. So
okay, so Perrin is barely aware of Mistress Alvier and Mistress Luhan holding down his wrists with all their weight, and someone's lying across his legs, and Loyal's holding his shoulders or something. Fael puts a leather-wrapped stick in his mouth and is like, "This is gonna hurt." And we smash to black, but not in the good way, because Perrin passes out.
yeah.
Well,
because they're yanking that arrow.
we get a very sweet bite down my heart. That's a very
Yeah.
cute little line.
Well, they're like all in love.
Yeah, they've already like done the whole L word thing. We're past that.
They have, but it's still like, it's nice that she's like, here's a soft moment from me about you. That we don't necessarily get like a ton of those, so it's nice to notice them when they
Sweetheart,
happen.
I don't want you to break your teeth or swallow your tongue.
Exactly. Yeah, don't bite your tongue off. Here's something to bite.
Yeah.
Also, don't die.
Yeah. Also, don't die.
Okay,
So, hey.
let's get right into chapter 44.
Yes.
The Breaking Storm, which is interesting because I didn't pay attention to this title, and I think it's an interesting title now that I know.
Yeah, you mentioned that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. The chapter symbol is the Trolloc symbol.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Because there's Trollocs.
Because it's Trollocs.
Yeah.
So Perrin wakes up. He's in one of the Wine Spring Inn's rooms. So he didn't die.
That's good.
That's great
Yeah.
news. It's morning, and he feels that the wound in his side is healed. So I guess it's not like Rand's after all.
Oh, yeah, because that was a speculation.
Someone made
right.
a lot of fun of me for saying that.
Hey, I like that theory. That was
yeah,
good.
but they're like, a random Trollocs arrow is going to do the same damage as like Beelzemon's sword.
Maybe.
Why not?
I mean, Murdral
Why
blades do.
not?
Yeah. Murdral wounds do bad things, right?
Yeah.
I dig it.
Okay, so his wound is like healed, the skin's closed. Fail is there and tells him that he needs to rest, like he needs at least 2 to 3 days, and he probably also needs to eat a lot.
Yes.
If I remember from Matt's healing,
Yeah. Not the same scale,
not the
but
same
still
kind of
needs
healing,
to eat.
But yeah. So Perrin feels like Fail is keeping something from him, and he's right.
Oh, yeah, it's a good one. I mean, it's medium good.
Well, it's kind of shitty. I hate it, actually.
What?
Loyal and Gaul have gone off to the Waygate by themselves.
Why is that bad?
See,
That's like the best dynamic duo.
I love
I
I've ever
actually wrote in my notes, what a fun duo.
Yeah, that's great.
This is why I was not disappointed to have these chapters, because this is one of my favorite moments, because we actually get agency from side characters that helps the main character out in their predicament. We don't really get that until now, where it's like the main character has to do everything. The main character is the one responsible, but this is like, no, let's take these two characters that have nothing in common except for our main character, and let's make them have a buddy cop movie that we'll never see, apparently.
Yeah.
And go off on a sweet adventure, right? Like, it's awesome.
Just like, I gotta throw it out there, though. We could have more of these offshoots if our main characters could get better at delegating tasks.
Well, they're like, you can't do that. I have to do it. It's like they all have control issues.
That's what I'm saying. Is like it's 100%. They can't give up.
Like if Perrin wasn't unconscious, Loyal wouldn't have been allowed to go.
Yeah, and I mean, Fael calls him out on that in just half a second too. So
yes. Okay. Anyway, I do think that this is a great duo, but I hate that they're going because I don't think there's anything to go for. That's my stance right now.
Okay.
And that annoys me. I won't be annoyed if I'm wrong. I'll be happy if I'm wrong. Well, actually, no. That means there's Trollocs coming in. Never mind. I'm going to stop talking.
Okay.
So, Perrin gets out of bed. He's determined to go after them. So determined that he doesn't even care that he's naked.
Doesn't matter.
His Willie is hanging out in front of Fael, and he doesn't even care. He just, like, stumbles over to the chair to get his clothes, because he's going to leave. He's going to go after them.
I mean, something to think about if that's, like, a new sight for her. Probably not. I mean, she probably helped get him undressed.
Oh, well, yeah, that part.
So, you know.
Yeah. I think that we're only sticking to the fun dreams.
And you don't think that they've gone further?
Nope.
Okay.
So he can barely stand, and I'm like, how the hell are you going to get to this Waygate? You aren't even going to be able to sit on a horse. And he's like, all I have to do is sit up on the horse, and the horse will take me there.
Just hug it real tight.
Yeah, but like, what are you going to do when you get there? Like, this is such a terrible plan. Like, he's so stubborn, it's stupid. But I guess that's a character flaw, and we're supposed to appreciate it.
Yeah, he is stubborn.
It's consistent.
I mean, we've seen that side of him. Yeah.
And
he's from the Two Rivers.
I just want to say, Danny, that this is one of those things that's been revealed to me in this podcast, especially like this scene and moving forward, is how fucking funny this stuff is. Just for like,
it's great.
How the like tongue in cheek, like how stupid guys can be, and like how it just kills me going forward. Like when I.
But that's the thing. It's realistic. Like I myself have for sure been this stubborn about something stupid. Just for the sake of someone telling me don't do it, I'm like, I'm going to do it anyways. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, and I have to tell you, it's not just guys. Because we see it from Fael right away, and like with the whole Marin, Alvir, and Fael interaction, which is hilarious. But I've also been that stubborn person. Yeah. So the trope is there, and I get it.
It's real.
It's real.
It's a trope because it's real.
Yeah. So he's like, I'm going. And she's like, no, you're not. And he can barely walk. And she's trying to stop him from walking. And he opens the doors. But turns out he's on the second floor because that's where the rooms are. And there are stairs. And I'm like reading this. And I was like, holy shit, are they going to fall down the stairs?
They're going to die right now.
And then they literally fall down the fucking stairs together. And then like no one breaks an arm.
Yeah,
like, that's the most unrealistic thing.
Yeah, I was going to say, this is the biggest part of this entire series I probably don't believe is
it's
that
outrageous.
two adults fall down the stairs and nobody gets hurt.
Well, to be fair,
we both die in that situation.
he's going jelly body, right? Because he's like his muscles are turning to liquid, and he's just falling over. So he's probably
and that only
like,
takes you so far.
Yeah, it turns out they're fine.
evidently
but, like,
to the bottom.
It's written like
Yeah.
you're supposed to be worried because Fael's like limp on his body, and he's like has to shake her and be like, Fael, and I was like, oh my god, did Fael just die? Like,
It's hilarious.
turns out not
What a
at all.
twist,
She doesn't
yeah.
even have a bruise. Like,
It's actually better because then Marin comes in and it looks like they're playing kissing games on the ground.
yeah, because
Classic.
they lay there for a while. She refuses to get off of him because that's how weak he is.
Yeah.
That he's like, I need to go get my horse, and she's like, no, and so she just like doesn't get up, and so he can't get
Wait,
up.
you can't skip past the fact
Ah.
that they go full fucking Charlie Chaplin and knock over a barrel full of like metal onto the floor
Yeah.
to make a gigantic noise as well after they fall down. Like, why would they
Yeah,
have the
'cause she
barrel of
comes in.
swords at the bottom of the stairs? Like, this is literally just to
Who's
create this
arranging
like,
this?
oh man, what a ridiculous, silly moment.
And then there was a bunch of ball bearings and they go, whoa, whoa, whoa.
Exactly. It's like, why have it
There's
at
a
the
bunch
bottom
of
of the
marbles
stairs
on
for
the
like the
floor.
people living in the inn? It's like, no, it'd be by the door. Like, why is it here?
Maybe it was by the door, and they fell. They like kept going. No,
It's
okay,
comic relief. It's good.
it's good. I actually did laugh.
Yeah, it's full on
And I
Benny
think I
Hill.
said out loud,
Yeah.
yeah, it's so funny. Okay. So Marin Alvier thinks they're playing kissing games on the floor, which, how embarrassing. Marin says that Fael just needs to learn how to handle Perrin properly.
Yeah. Which, I mean, the advice does work to an extent. Because Fael
It's
implements
just
it right
annoying.
away.
Perrin's just annoyed because he hears the advice. So if he didn't hear it, this would have worked.
It does work.
But he heard it, and he's too stubborn.
The advice does work, though. Fael lets him she kind of does the give and take with him letting him get on his horse to become the general. Like, she really eases him into that role.
Yeah, but that's only because the Trollocs are showing up. Then she's like, okay, I can have him just sitting on his horse, and he's not riding off to the Waygate. Like, she's using this situation.
The key is that they're not stupid, they're stubborn. So it's like,
Yeah.
he's like, he knows he can't reach it to the forest, but if she said, don't go to the forest, where the fuck do you think he was going to go, right? Like,
It's almost like give them an out. Give them a path to get out of what they were going to do. Right?
Yeah.
So he's not so hard set on that.
don't make them take a hard stance, or they're gonna take that hard stance.
I know hard stances. I'm good at them.
Yeah, and my favorite is when he stubbornly thinks about how he's not stubborn.
Yeah. Yeah, accurate.
Ugh, I'm not muley.
Yeah.
How annoying that she thinks I'm so muley.
He said muley.
Yeah.
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 Muley.
Muley. All right. So this is when they hear a bunch of voices call out, there are Trollocs! Oh my god, there's a Trolloc attack happening right now! Turns out
Not
that's
so
actually
much.
not what's going on.
No, like 5 minutes.
Yeah. But Marin says that the Aes Sedai will handle him. Don't worry, the Aes Sedai will get the Trollocs.
So here's the thing. Marin takes this so coolly that I kind of have to assume that this sort of thing has happened before.
Now, I have to disagree with you.
Not to the extent of like 5, but like the issue of Trollocs popping up and
I
then
know what
being
you're
on
saying.
alert.
I know what you're saying, and I'm disagreeing with you.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I kind of love this.
The way...
Yeah, I kind of love picturing this moment as like, and like everything's okay, and then it's like Trollocs, and that's fine. Like,
Yes, exactly. I think that she's just trying to stay calm in this moment because she knows the parents shouldn't be going off, and she's in the middle of this like coddle parent session.
Yeah?
And just going forward a little bit, the way that everyone reacts
Yeah.
just shows me that Trollocs like this haven't been here before.
Well, that's what
They're shooting bows too soon.
Okay, hold on. That's what I said. I said they haven't had like 500 Trollocs attack.
Oh.
But they probably have seen Trollocs, like a handful, try to break the lines or whatever it might be. So it's like this isn't the first time they've ever seen Trollocs at Emmons Field. That's what my
maybe
point
not,
was.
But at
well,
the same
that's
time,
established
where
as
did
well,
a
right?
handful of Trollocs?
We
Yeah.
know that we know that Emmons Field hasn't specifically been attacked yet, and that's
And like where would they see just like a handful of Trollocs?
Doing some scouting. getting in some tomfoolery.
No.
you know?
There would be
I'm
people
just
in the
disagreeing
town
with
who
you.
believe that Trollocs are there because they hear it from like the people outside of town. But I think you're right, Danny. I think most of the people in town probably haven't seen them yet.
All right. Okay.
Yeah. I didn't, especially with the way they're reacting. Like, they're shooting their bows too early. They, like, need proper advice and, like, guidance and leadership.
I think like
Yeah, that's like full scale attack.
I think the smart people in town, like Bran, like I think he hasn't seen one, but he believes Tam, and he believes like Abel, right? Like who definitely have seen them and have scouted. Like I think the smart people know that this has happened, but I think the average person probably has never seen a Trolloc still.
I agree with that.
Okay.
Except Winter Night, obviously, but yeah.
Yeah.
Besides
Winter Night, yeah. So Perrin is super annoyed. Fael says that Perrin needs to get his horse, and she, I think, has a change of mind, mostly because she doesn't like Merrin's advice about, like, coddling him. I don't know, because she even thinks to herself, don't tell me how to handle Perrin. You know, like...
She's stubborn too, so...
Yeah, she's stubborn too. She thinks it's best for people to see Perrin up on his horse as the leader, and she's not wrong.
Yeah, he should be the figurehead.
Yeah. So Perrin finally accepts that he wouldn't last against Trollocs and Fades, so he's going to be like the leader / general up on his horse, and Fael and Perrin have some like funny little banter back and forth.
Yeah.
Like, remember when I was talking about how they're learning to speak the same sort of like sarcastic language?
Yeah.
And it's like working for them?
They're getting there. They're growing in their relationship.
That's what this is. Like, I wouldn't like if you talked to me like this, but like they're getting cool with it.
Yeah, in their own personal relationship, they're figuring it out.
Yeah. So we get a mass of people gathered at the edge of the village. We get Alana, Varen, and the warders are over there too. We get that Alana has healed a couple of the men who were like really in dire need of it, but the ones with like bumps and bruises didn't get healed.
Yeah.
So it's much less exciting than a Trolloc attack right this second. It's like they have time to prepare because we get one Trolloc being like lost.
He snuck off from the group
He's
to go and try and
sneaky?
get an easy meal from the guys who were cutting down
He's
trees.
Narg
Okay.
2.0.
Is he though? Because I thought Narg smart.
Narg was smart.
This guy-
Narg was
said
medium.
smart.
This guy not smart.
Narg said smart, but did Narg get meal? No, Narg did not get meal.
No. Well, this guy also did not get meal. So he's just like ambling along, but the Timber Party drove it away, or did they kill it?
No, they drove it away.
They drove it away
Yeah.
before it could do too much damage. Then Bane and Chiad show up to tell them that 500 Trollocs are a mile or two behind them, which is, in my opinion, interesting timing that this huge Trolloc horde is on their way to Emmons Field the day basically after that Perrin got here, and Perrin's not dead.
Okay. So more coincidences that are not coincidences.
And you know, I don't believe in coincidences.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's worth pointing out that we don't know that Trollocs and Fades at this point have a ton of restraint. So like the fact, like the idea that these guys could have just arrived, gotten here, and then decided to attack immediately, it's not crazy surprising, right? Once they had like a minimum number, they were just like, okay, let's go attack.
Yeah, but I'm also led to believe that they're taking orders. Like, they're here for a purpose.
Yeah, this was a test. That's the whole thing we get into later.
Yeah,
so.
we do get into that.
Okay, so let's get through this
isn't
fight,
an accident.
and then we'll talk about it.
Yeah, so Perrin's here, and now all of a sudden, Trollocs are showing up. So even if Trollocs have been here before, not like this.
Yeah.
So Ivan actually gets a little sassy.
I love it. This is great. Yeah.
Because Perrin's like, we need to get ready. And then Ivan's like, well, maybe somebody should tell them what to do.
Yeah. It's just like waiting.
Yeah.
It's so good.
Yeah.
That's like so funny.
Hey, Perrin, maybe you should give some orders.
Try it out. See how it feels.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's worth pointing out that like none, like definitely not the warders aren't like battle commanders. Not every one of them, right? But
well, no, and they also point out that these village people don't want to listen to outsiders.
That's true.
I don't know how true that is. I do think that the Aes Sedai want to see how Perrin is going to lead
But consider the fact that the warders, like Ivan and Thomas, were never going to step in and give orders. That's not their deal. Think back to Lan, when we first met him in Eye of the World. He could give two shits about these Emmons Fielders.
No, it's the Aes Sedai who are going to give orders.
They will wait for the Aes Sedai to do their thing, and they're there to protect their Aes Sedai. That is all. They're not going to go out of their way for anybody.
You should probably go tell them to do something.
And
I'm going to put that on the list and not my fucking problem.
Yeah, Moraine didn't exactly organize the defense of the Emmons Field when she did it. She went out and she threw fireballs and lightning bolts and then said, help me. Right? That's the Aes Sedai prerogative is I'm the most important person in this room. Defend me.
Yeah, fair. Okay, so Perrin is on to the Aes Sedai.
Yeah.
He clearly knows that they want to see him as the leader. They're trying to be sneaky. Fael even is a little bit catching on.
Do you think that's true?
I mean, medium. He's okay.
I think there's something more going on here.
I think it's 100% true, and I don't think we have to beat around the bush because Perrin's Ta'Veren. Perrin knows that he's Ta'Veren. Perrin knows that he, Matt, and Rand are Ta'Veren. He knows what that means. He knows the Aes Sedai know that. So it's obviously they're trying to push you into being
especially Varen
Ta'Veren.
Writing her book on Ta'Veren.
Yeah, she went off on a huge rant oh, this is really exciting. And she told him she was watching him do Ta'Veren stuff in the surrounding village farms.
She's I wonder how this is going to go for you.
Here's the thing. How long have they been there? How long have the Trollocs been there? And how little have they done to organize the two rivers into a defensible position?
Well, it's not their...
They didn't know Perrin was coming. They didn't know anyone was coming.
The Aes Sedai?
Yeah.
So why would they not have done anything to help organize the village?
I think they assumed that... Well, so Alana sent Ivan to go get Perrin.
And I wouldn't say they've done nothing. They've been incredibly helpful. They even did the catapult thing.
But what I mean is before Perrin arrived. They were there before Perrin ever got there, and the Trollocs were there before Perrin ever got there.
But they were in hiding.
And they did have a reason for that.
And they apparently had a mission to find... Yeah. I did air quotes, and I realized this is an audio medium. They had a mission, air quotes, to find the girls. I do think that there were other things that they...
Yeah, I think it's just easy to chalk up to, it's not their problem.
Yeah. They have their own shit. So we get that the village definitely has a battle plan. So whether or not that's because of the Aes Sedai or not, I don't know. But I do know that there are catapults set up. There are 100 men with spears and polearms and twice as many with Two Rivers longbows. We get young boys bringing out extra arrows. So we are set and ready. Perrin keeps Fael out here with them because he knows she won't go back even if he tells her to leave.
Yeah.
So she actually looks like she wants to protect him, and he's kind of annoyed by it, but he also is having trouble sitting up straight on his horse.
And do you want to have an argument with your girlfriend in front of all the men?
No.
Don't want to do that.
Yeah, because he's so weak. I'm yes, Fael, good. I'm glad you're here to protect him.
You missed the most important part of the battle plan.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, it's Leof with the wolf head banner.
Oh, he stands there with the banner.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of funny. Okay, we see an incredible amount of disdain Perrin has for the guys who keep holding his flags.
And that's because he's the bannerman.
I know. I was going to say that I remember him being the bannerman for the Dragon Reborn at the Battle of Falma.
Well, it's just mostly because he was also standing there, and they're sure, here's a job for you, I guess.
Well, he's talking down to a position that he used to have, so come on.
Yeah, and I was going to say, tactically, this is, the way that Perrin responds to this joke is hilarious because he doesn't belittle the guy who didn't want to hold the banner. He makes a joke at almost his own expense or not quite at that guy's expense, but it's still funny enough that it releases the tension for everyone. He doesn't alienate one person, so it's
except he hates Will too.
He does hate Will, not as much as he hates Ban's nose.
That's true. But again, Perrin stumbles into the right response to a situation that probably wasn't what he would do when he doesn't really like Will.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
Okay, so after a long wait, the Trollocs show up. They come flooding out of the Westwood, yelling and hollering and howling. Plus, there are 3 Murdral driving the Trollocs forward. We get a bunch of freaking noobs just start firing arrows way too early at nothing. Their arrows aren't going to reach anything. Tam yells at everyone for being such stupid woolhead idiots.
And they're like, ugh, language.
Yeah, it's great.
There are children around.
Yeah, Tam, who has clearly been like in charge of real fucking armies, is like, you stupid fucking morons, be better. He starts to give orders, but then he looks at Perrin and goes, right? This is the order you should give? And Perrin's like, yeah, shoot at 300 paces.
Yeah, I was going to ask if you had thoughts on why he does that.
Why Tam does that?
Yeah, why does Tam look to... Like, why instead of Tam just giving the order, why doesn't...
Because Tam's not the general.
Okay, that's what I'm saying.
He understands how, like, leadership works. He understands how an army is gonna follow its leader, right? Like, I don't know.
It's a really, really important move, I think. Like, I don't want to I don't want to undersell this, that this is a huge thing that Tam does, because him and Bran are like the older guys who literally led the village and lead the village in the village council, but they're stepping up, or like stepping down rather, to let Perrin become the person he's supposed to be.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a big thing for them to be able to like tip their hat to him. So
it's fair too that like we get this trope a lot in like movies like Band of Brothers and some of the other military stuff, where it's like the commanding officer isn't always the most competent guy either. So you pretend that he's the one giving the orders. You give him what he's exactly supposed to say, and you say like, yeah, 300's good, right? And then he goes, yeah, of course, because he doesn't actually know. Because Tam's the guy who actually knows. So the reality is Tam's the one who's in command of this situation, but he has to pretend like someone else is.
Yeah, fair. All right, and then we get the battle beginning when the Trollocs get within 300 paces. They like loose all their arrows. They
have the catapults.
The
explodey fireball catapults with shrapnel.
Beat them all.
Yeah.
And the battle ends.
They did it. Hooray.
So all the Trollocs
This reminded me actually of a quote about the Swiss from World War One. So there was a famous quote about the Swiss from World War One where at the time of First World War, the Switzerland only had a standing army of about 250,000 riflemen. And they were asked, because, the Swiss remained neutral, they were asked, like, what would you do if the Germans invaded with an army of 500,000? What would you do? And the response...
Shoot twice.
Exactly. That's the famous quote, is that the Swiss responded, we would shoot twice and go home. Because they had all trained in the art of, like, shooting. They were all better at shooting than anyone else, and that's what this feels like. It's like, there's not enough Two Rivers men to do what they just did. Like, 200 people against... like 500 Trollocs
500
shouldn't work out the way it did, but here they are, right?
Good at archery.
That's actually a very interesting point. I like that. I thought it was just like, fine, battle's done. But that's actually really...
200 men against 500 Trollocs would not have gone this way in any other situation. It is something. So one other thing that I found interesting is when they talk about the Aes Sedai looking at the rocks that then go on and explode. Do you think that the Aes Sedai did something with the power? Like a time bomb?
Probably.
Or like they did something...
Before or after? Like, are you...
Because it says the Aes Sedai were over with the rocks at the catapult. And then the rocks were catapulted and exploded. We haven't really seen any like time delay power shit.
No, that's true.
So do you think they like...
Sounds like something though.
Right?
Sounds like something's up. Yeah.
It was just, for me, it was like...
So you deconstruct the structural integrity of the rock so that on impact it explodes.
Listen, especially if they're strong with like earth, they can manipulate it in some way, I would imagine. Or maybe they like watched it go, and as it like went, then they used the power.
But why not just do a fireball at that point, right? Like,
maybe they're not good with fire.
That's the thing.
That's true.
We don't know enough about...
Because each individual Aes Sedai is either strong or weak or good or bad, right? Like, we get that Moiraine is, like, one of the strongest, so, like, maybe...
Yeah.
I don't know.
But it's just that...
Maybe they have to...
When Perrin says, like, he was
rocks.
worried about them, like, dropping them at the catapults, too, right? Like, it just seemed like they did something with these rocks that make rocks explode.
Or, like, like, they made some sort of, like... Yeah.
I don't know. It was just kind of it was a weird thing for me.
Dynamite cannonball.
Exactly. Yeah. It's like I couldn't imagine like what they did, or like from what we know about the One Tower so far, I have no idea what they did to make rocks explode on impact.
I have nothing for you. I don't know either.
Fair enough.
Okay. So The battle ends. All the Trollocs and Fades are dead. They didn't even reach the stakes. All the men celebrate, and in the celebration, Bran congratulates Perrin, but first he's like, "You did it, boy!" And then he goes, "No, wait. You did it, Perrin."
Nice.
Woo, grown up.
Yeah. That's nice.
That is nice. So, great victory, and Perrin's like, "Oh yeah, I did so much for this great victory."
This is another like very like English comedy moment for me, where it's just like the quiet, like, I didn't do anything. Like after everything everyone says, but it's like everyone's moving on and just being like, "You did so amazing," and he's just like, "I don't know what I did.
I sat on my horse.
I don't know what I did. I just sat here. Yeah. Tried not to fall down. That's what I did." But anyway, we also get an interesting note that Tam and the warders did not participate in the celebrating because they know that this isn't the end.
Yeah, they're studying the battlefield. It's important.
Yes. Now, Perrin questions this attack like it didn't make much sense. It was too small a force to get through, and they must have known that they weren't able to get through if they did any surveying of this area. And turns out that Varen's warder, Thomas, agrees.
Yeah, I mean, Perrin is being perceptive that obviously the 500 Trollocs weren't going to actually break through and, destroy Emond's Field.
Although 500 Trollocs sounds like it could break through and destroy
Exactly,
Emond's
yeah, like, that's the thing. Like, I think he's giving too much credit in a lot of ways to the strategy of the Trollocs, because, like, 500 would have done it any other time.
I think that this is, like, being numb to what Trollocs and Fades are at this point. Like, he's seen them and seen them and seen them, that it's just like, 500's nothing.
Okay, so
like,
what are you
no,
implying?
It's not.
So if it isn't a test, do you think this was like
no,
the
it's a
attack?
Test. It's totally a test. I'm just questioning, like, why Perrin feels the need to be like, that wasn't that many, when it was.
Okay.
Do you want to know what I'm implying?
I mean, I get that it was a lot.
Sure.
So, in history, the longbow is one of the most effective weapons that has ever been invented and has ever made its way to the military battlefield in the medieval times. There has never been
changed the game.
anything like it, and there was never anything like it after. And tactically, there was no way to plan around it. Because, like, the fact that someone could shoot you from 300 yards before armies ever engaged was completely, like, in
game changer. Yeah.
There's nothing like it, right? So
you win is what
I don't think
happens.
that the Trollocs game played for this. I don't think that they had
that's
any
fair.
idea that longbows were a thing and that they could be used this way.
Well, and that's why I do think that this was a test to see, like, if they got through, great.
And murder everyone, that's good, yeah.
That's good. That's what they wanted. Capture Perrin,
Yeah.
probably. Like, I don't even really know what the game plan is here.
Eat Fael.
She's delicious.
Oh, I shouldn't have said that. Oh, no.
Oh, no.
Spoiler alert.
Shoot.
Yeah.
Shoot.
We don't find out she's delicious until book 5.
I do think that this was a test. I think they would have been happy to get through, but if they didn't, they're like, okay, now they know. Whoever they is, whoever's orchestrating all of this and why, I still to be determined. I don't really know. I can't figure it out. I'm sure Lord Luke is part of it.
Okay,
I'm sure Slayer is part of it.
Yeah.
I don't know if they're one and the same or just working together. I'm not sure yet, but I know they're part of it. Now, we also get that there was a raven, a single raven, circling around and then taking off.
Yeah, watching.
So, obviously watching A Spy for the Dark One. I went on a walk today. There's a giant fucking raven sitting on a house watching me. And
he was watching.
Yep. And I was like, the Dark One's eyes. I hate birds so much. Get out of here, you fucking raven. But I'm scared of birds, if you don't know anything about me. But I didn't like that. And I thought about this. I thought it was funny. So, he was spying. And now they all, when I say they all, the warders, Tam, Perrin, they're all sure that there's going to be another attack.
Yeah. I mean, that makes sense.
They just don't know when.
Yeah.
And so it all depends on how many Trollocs came through the ways.
Yeah, I love Varen's speculation here. I love her just rambling
she just, like,
thoughts.
Goes off
it's
on these
so
like,
good.
super dark and twisted and like demented things. But she just like says it so super normally.
She's just like studying.
She's like, well, maybe if she's
interesting.
yeah, because I know that
and it's so specific.
Machin Chin would love to like devour Trollocs, and maybe they could get through 20 at a time, but blah blah blah. Maybe they can get through without drawing the Black Wind to them. And Perrin's just like, the Waygate needs to be closed immediately.
Yeah. I mean, okay, so this does tell us some important information, though, about how Machin Chin works, because she does talk about how the larger the group, the faster Machin Chin will be drawn to that collective group of people. She says if 1,000 are through... but she also speculates that Shadowspawn might not attract as much as humankind does. But that's one of the big issues, is that the more people there are in one location, the faster Machin Chin will be drawn to that situation. So, I mean...
Yeah, it's just funny to me that like we give credit to the Dark One and everything with like these like clear like logistical traveling like decisions, but he puts all 500 of his Trollocs into one group that attacks one side in front of where everyone is standing. Like,
but I mean, we're also assuming that 500 is a lot to them right now.
Yeah. That's true.
Yeah.
Like 500 might not be very much. That's like a whatever
it sounds
force.
like a lot though, because they've only been attacking groups of like 30 or 40. So 500 is a lot compared to what they've been seeing in and around the whole Two Rivers.
It's the most that they've ever seen. Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah. All right. So everything sort of settles. We end on a cliffhanger because there's like a big clamor of something happening from the south near the old road, and Perrin assumes it's more Trollocs. They didn't think it would happen this fast, but I'm not so sure.
You said at the beginning
Cloaks.
you think it's White Cloaks.
White Cloaks. Probably.
So, okay, so a White
Cloak...
You
don't tell me where I can...
Yeah, that's what I'm asking. So is it a White Cloak attack, or is it like a White Cloak bunch of White Cloaks like patrol coming to like
coming to like be
cause,
assholes?
Yeah,
I wonder if they're gonna come and try to like take more prisoners because they want their prisoners back.
Ooh, and they are all here. So okay, yeah. So I guess the big question is like, how hot are they coming in?
I don't know. So the whole thing about it being White Cloaks, I'm like probably 72% sure.
Okay, I mean that's pretty.
I know it's not Trollocs again.
It's a pass in my book, so.
Yeah.
Oh, you know it's not Trollocs.
I know it's not Trollocs again. I think it's probably White Cloaks.
Oh, okay.
I actually don't know what the next chapter is.
Don't tell her. Okay.
I don't know what the next one is at all. I didn't even look. Okay, but yeah, I think that's probably good for now.
Yeah.
On my speculations, because I really don't have much. There actually wasn't that much here. I'm glad Tyler was here. It made things really fun and interesting.
Sometimes you need that for a Perrin chapter. I can acknowledge that.
No, I think we pulled a decent amount out of it.
Definitely. I think we pulled so much more out of it than...
Plus all that history, you gotta like keep restudying so you can finally understand it. So
that's true. Mm-hmm.
More homework. That's what we want.
Yeah. Your homework is go reread the first 4 books.
It's Editing Dani back again here to end off this episode because we did have some technical difficulties at the end of this recording session. I really want to thank Tyler for coming on as our guest, and I'm going to say that this is part of the pattern now. Thank you so much for listening to this episode. The Wheel Weaves is hosted by Dani and Brett, edited by Dani, produced by Dani and Brett, with Passion Socks, Mozime, Moltude, Benjamin, Vince Lewick, Michelle O'Brien, Sarah Wyatt, Jamie Young, Cody Fouts, and Giannis. With music by Audionautics.com. If you're interested in some of our Wheel Weaves merchandise, such as shot glasses, frosty mugs, t-shirts, hats, and more, you can head over to newcreationsbyjen.com, and we are located in the groups or collections section. If you're interested in supporting us and helping us to make really great content, you can head over to our Patreon at patreon.com/thewheelweavespodcast, and you'll also get access to some really great bonus content like early access to our regular episodes, bonus episodes, unedited video episodes, access to our live recordings, monthly Q&As, and more like stickers and keychains. Don't forget to find us on social media. We're on Instagram and Twitter at The Wheel Weaves Podcast. We'd also love for you to join the conversation over at our Discord, and you can find the link to that in our bios on those social medias. We'd love for you to tell a friend about us. Referrals really are the best compliment. We'd love for you to leave a review and subscribe. That really does make a huge difference. Thanks so much again for listening. This really is part of the pattern now.